another fun fact.
Are any of these guests going to be attending in person?
Yes. Um, the Rabbi will be here in person, and Levar Robinson will be here in person. Everybody else will be call-ins.
You spell your first name Haggai, right?
Yes, sir.
Is that your real first name?
Haggai Delane Davis II.
I've never met someone with that name or heard of that name before you.
So, my dad was the original Haggai Davis. He was born in Denton, Texas. My grandparents were foot washing Baptist. They didn't drink, smoke, dance, or cuss, just made babies. And Dad was the youngest of 9. They were very good at what they did. When my grandmother was pregnant with my father, she dreamt of the book of Haggai. Oh, by the way, Haggai is the third to last book in the Old Testament. If you're Catholic like me, yeah, it's okay. You don't know the Old Testament anyway. But if you're Baptist, shame on you. You need to get back to Sunday school. Oh, do we not have any more headphones? Did this go away?
Ooh. I'll get. I have to play weather in a sec. I could run and get some real quick.
Yeah, if you could. Or out, or how much time?
Not enough. I'll be quick. Hold on. I'm gonna have to play weather and then
Do I have time to walk down the hall?
I can get it.
Okay.
Spot. I'll have to find some.
Yeah, we'll have to find something. I can't hear anything.
I can give you a cue, just for now.
Yeah.
Here.
Can you hear it a little bit now?
There you go. Yeah. Good morning, everybody. I'm not Brian Haldane. I'm Haggai Davis II, sitting in for Brian, who's off on a spiritual weekend, and I'm excited for him to do so. So you've got me. We sat in yesterday, and going to be here again today. Jake's going to help keep me in line, make sure that we don't go too far off the rails, keep the train out of the ditch kind of thing.
Fair enough. But we got to let the train roll on.
Absolutely. Going to be a fun show today. The theme of the day, a minister, rabbi, and a Catholic deacon walk into a studio.
I think the result's going to be pretty interesting.
Yeah, so we're going to have an interesting morning. We're going to have Wes Ulrich, who's a local CPA, going to give us some updates on what's going on with taxes. This time of year, get ready for next year's tax returns. We're going to have Bishop Raymond Johnson, who's the founder and pastor of the Living Faith Christian Center. Levar Robinson from Fathers on a Mission is going to talk about the 4th annual father and daughter dance that's coming up. We're going to have Rabbi Barry Weinstein to come in. He's going to talk about Hanukkah and some of the traditions of the Jewish faith. And then we're going to have Deacon Jodi Moscona from who's going to also talk to us about some of the traditions of the Catholic Church and Advent, we're in the Advent season in the Catholic faith right now. So it's going to be a very interesting morning, and we'll see where this takes us. We're going to start off. We're going to look at a little bit of news today. The headlines for the morning, if I can get over there, back to that page. The local news. There we go. There's the local news. Nothing happened in the news yesterday. That's the good news. What did happen last night? The Saints kind of reverted back to the old '80s of being the Stains again. They moved the T.
Or the Aints.
Oh, they were the Stains. I didn't like the Aints. I liked Stains because it's you take instead of the Saints with the T at the back, you move the T to the front of the name, and they just become the Stains instead of the Saints.
Interesting.
Because they stunk up the field. I mean, it looked like a nasty stain on the surface of the Superdome. We'll get more into that a little bit in another segment coming up. We'll talk a little bit about what's going on in the world. We'll talk a little bit about life. We'll talk a little bit about Jake. We'll talk a little bit about me. We'll see what's going on out there. How does that sound, Jake?
Sounds pretty good to me. Happy Friday to all those listening.
Yes, as you pointed out, this is 1, 2, 3,
2 1.
2, 1.
It's 1 2 3 2 1 today. Fun fact for all those tuning in.
The little a palindrome date.
Mm-hmm. It's very satisfying to type, I must say.
So we'll have that kind of fun. When you've got a date that's a palindrome, you can't go wrong. You're just starting off with a fun day.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's a Friday.
And it's a Friday.
Come on, the stars are aligning for a very good day today for all those.
Gonna have hopefully you're getting set up for a good weekend. You know LSU's not going to lose a football game this weekend. You know the Saints aren't going to lose a football game this weekend.
Both of which are factually correct.
There's
no way for you to be false on that.
Absolutely. So already you're
our weekend's looking so wonderful right now.
It's where we are. But it is going to be a great weekend for especially college football. Mm-hmm. All the championship games, that's going to be a lot of fun to watch. And we'll see how the morning progresses. This is Haggai Davis sitting in for Brian Haldane on Talk 107.3 FM.
Nice.
Oh, you know what I haven't done today? I haven't broken a glass yet.
Don't hold your breath. I mean, we got 3 hours of show.
The morning is still young. Yes, it is. Oh, so you were asking, so Haggai, my dad, my grandmother dreamt of the book of Haggai when she was pregnant with my dad. At the end of the 9th month, she wakes up, goes in labor, has my dad, and you're Haggai. I was born in New Orleans. Dad goes in to fill out the birth certificate, and the lady says, your name? He says, Haggai Delane Davis. And she said, what do you name your son? Haggai Delane Davis II. And she says, Mr. Davis, if you're naming your son after yourself, you're supposed to name him Junior. Well, my dad hated the name Junior. So he tells this woman, God's honest book, you had to know my dad. He's my goddamn son. If I want to name him asshole, you're typing asshole in that piece of paper. Yes, Mr. Davis, he's the second. So I was that close to being named. So fast forward, I give my wife the engagement ring. I said, honey, me and number 3, firstborn son's number 3. And she said, yes, I will marry you. No, I'm not naming a kid Haggai. I got 2 Haggais in my life, and that's more than anybody should ever have to deal with. And then our son was born 10 days early on my dad's birthday. There was the sign from God. He is Haggai the third.
Oh my gosh.
And so Haggai, if you go to Israel, Haggai is a very popular name. It's as popular in Israel as Mark is here in the United States. But in Israel, it's pronounced Haggai. If you go into some of the northeastern parts, especially like the Hasidic parts of New York City, it's Haggai or Haggai. But in the South, it's just Haggai.
Yeah, well, it's the South. We pronounce pretty lazy.
Where can we find headphones?
So, I checked the Tiger Studio, which is where I found them last time.
Should I go ask an Eagle if they've got any?
I would. You don't have much time.
How much time do I have?
Like 30 seconds.
Oh, okay. Well, after the next break.
Yeah, we'll have more time then. You'll definitely have headphones before your first interview.
That's 6:35. All right, everybody. Kind of a little smooth jazz lead in. I like that.
Casual to start off our mornings.
It's a great, great day.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, it's pretty foggy out there, too.
Quite. It was very difficult to see. I can
Right.
imagine what it's like when traffic's out there.
Driving in down River Road, I mean, it was driving through pea soup. I mean, it was just thick. So if you're getting out on the road anytime soon, go slow. Keep your lights on low.
Proceed with caution.
Yeah, it's real foggy out there. So if you took the opportunity to watch the Saints play last night, they stunk up the joint. Taysom Hill threw 4 interceptions, including a pick 6. And the Saints lost 27-17 to the Dallas Cowboys. And that's their 5th consecutive loss. The Saints looked very much like the Stains more than the Saints. And for those of you old enough to remember the 80s when bags on their head and the Aints days and all of those things, it was very reminiscent of that kind of night because they were hapless.
Yeah, they weren't exactly anything to write home about. But one thing I learned, actually, before the game, if they were to lose this game, which evidently they did, this is the first time that the Saints under Sean Payton have lost 5 games in a row.
Wow.
Granted, first time without Drew Brees. And if there's a season to do that, at least it's this one and not a Drew Brees season. Still, I can imagine Sean Payton is not at all happy with what's going on, and he is trying his best with this very, very injury-riddled squad.
So yeah, if you're looking at their roster, the starting 3 of the starting offensive linemen did not play. 3 of 5 were not starting.
Both tackles.
Both tackles.
Very good tackles as well.
At least 2 of the starting wide receivers are not able to play. The starting quarterback is not able to play. The 2 starting running backs were not able to play. And that's just on offense.
A bunch of defense as well.
Oh, by the way, the starting tight end and the backup tight end also were not able to play. The defense, I mean, the Saints look more like a mash unit than they do a football team right now. And,
Yeah.
you know,
We were never going to win that. At least in my opinion. I don't mean to sound pessimistic on air here, but I didn't expect us to win that game at all.
did not expect the Saints to win, but I didn't expect the Saints to. I didn't see the whole game. I saw the second quarter and parts of the third, and then I fell asleep. It couldn't hold my interest long enough to keep me awake. So I had to read about it this morning, and kind of feel better about having gone to sleep than sat through that, because it looks like it was a rather miserable experience. It just, when you want to see the Saints do something. The the LSU women's basketball team, they did win. They beat number 14 Iowa State last night.
Woo.
That's a good thing. The Tigers won 69-60, and Kim Mulkey's team is rolling.
That's something I love to hear right now. I really want to get into women's basketball this season.
The Lady Tigers are 6-1, and they look so good. I've watched several of their games now. Between General Wade's team and Kim Mulkey's teams, we're going to have a fun winter season with college basketball here in Baton Rouge. That's going to be so good. And then leading up to the LSU baseball season in the spring, can't wait for that. So that's what's happening in sports. We'll be back in a few minutes. Usually there's one left up here, but there's not today. Gonna make it hard. All right. I used to have one. Used to carry one with me. I mean, for the interview, I will.
of 4 eligible Michelin tires. Visit ShawBillsTire.com to learn more. You know what bears do before
Did you ask them for adapter?
They didn't have it.
65 Florida Boulevard to see my guy Mitch Kimball and get themselves a mattress at the Baton Rouge Mattress Outlet Black Friday sales. They'll apply for the rest of this week. If you mentioned you heard about it right here on Talk 107.3 FM, that means a queen size mattress normally $8.99, now down to $3.99. Similar deals on kings, twins. You've got pillow deals as well. Wait a minute. You mentioned you heard about it. You get a free pillow. You'll also get free delivery at either location at the Baton Rouge Mattress Outlet, 4065 Florida Boulevard, or in the corner of Jefferson and Crucian 2. Yes, winter time is just around the corner. That's snug day time. Modern, Kirchhoff, Benat, and Cap. About to settle down for a long winter's nap, but you gotta get a good mattress if you're gonna get that long winter's nap. You can get it at either location of the Baton Rouge Mattress Outlet. One more time, 4065 Florida Boulevard, or the corner of Jefferson and Crucian 2. 181 Jefferson Highway. Don't forget to mention you heard about it here on Talk 107.3 at the Baton Rouge Mattress Outlet.
Okay, everybody, welcome back once again. It is 6:26 here on December 3rd. If you're tuning in trying to figure out why that doesn't sound like Brian Haldane, because it's not Brian Haldane.
Fun fact, it is not Brian Haldane.
It is Haggai Davis II sitting in along with Jake.
Good morning, everybody.
So, Jake, I want to ask you a few questions.
Okay, let's do it.
You've been on the show now 6 months or so?
About like 3 or 4 months.
3 or 4 months? Okay, whatever it's been. I just learned your last name yesterday.
Yes.
So tell everybody, what is your last name?
Barty.
Jake Barty. And Jake, where are you from?
I was born in Florida, but I was raised in DFW.
All
Dallas-Fort
right.
Worth, for those who don't know that.
The big Dallas-Fort Worth area. And as
Don't
I
worry.
learned,
Hang on. I'm not a Cowboys fan. I just need to clarify that because we just had that whole... I was raised in a Saints household. Don't worry, people.
there you go. So we can mark you as being safe, that
Yes.
you're not a Cowboys fan.
Also, I just graduated from LSU, so...
All right.
As much
So
as
we
Louisiana as it can get without being born here.
graduated from LSU in
Mass communication.
mass communications. All right.
Yep. Working in my field.
Working in your field. That's cool. I like that. So aspirations, you want to move to this side of the mic at some point? You like that side of the mic? What's Jake's ambitions in life?
I would say your side looks a little comfier in my opinion, but I'm enjoying what I'm doing right now. It's I'm only just starting, and I'm really excited to see where it goes.
That's cool. You got to start somewhere.
Exactly.
You know,
This ain't too bad.
Get that experience. Get in. Find out what's going on if you like it. Because you can always pivot to something else
Mm-hmm.
if this doesn't work out for you. But I mean, hey, so far so good.
Yeah. No complaints from me.
That's cool. So, you born in Florida, grow up in Texas. Was it a family connection back to LSU, or
It was like not immediate family, but I still had family here. But I wanted to kind of leave where I'd grown up and just, start my own life in my image, what I wanted to be, and not what I was, like high school. You're kind of like devoid of personality in high school. Didn't
Okay.
want to have everyone in Texas wants to stay in Texas. Any university I would have gone to, there's somebody there. I didn't really want to deal with that, and I wanted to, go out of my comfort zone, go to somewhere new, and LSU was that, and I have had no cause to regret it since.
well, that's cool. I like somebody who's got that personal ambition that I can, go off and make my own path, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's good. And so, what does Jake Barty do for fun?
A lot of video games. I watch sports a lot, both like football, basketball, soccer. Soccer's like my main one. Definitely a lot of video games. Been playing video games since I was a little kid. Love music. I've been a musician for about 10 years, actually.
Really?
I played trumpet in Tiger Band. Got the national championship ring to prove it.
There you go.
Very
All
proud
right.
of that. Very proud of that. I got to see every single game of that season, and yeah,
And,
that
and
was
travel with the band and all.
Oh yeah,
I mean, that's
that was the highlight of my college experience for sure. That was a real good time.
so. You went through the LSU band, so you got some discipline because I've seen what they do to you guys.
More or less.
Yeah, I mean, you have to stand there at attention for quite some time and can't scratch your nose and things like that,
Or smile.
or smile.
People love to try and get you to smile, especially when you're marching down the hill. And I've cracked maybe once or twice. I'm not gonna pretend like I'm some stoic, sheik or sphinx. That's the right word. Not that, but yeah, people love to try and get you to break character. It's really funny, but it's not gonna work. It's just not.
Very cool.
Except maybe once or twice.
So we just learned a little something about Jake Barty here. For those of you who listen every morning and you hear Brian talking, and you get to learn all about Brian, but we didn't ever get to hear about Jake. So now we've opened up the curtains. You've seen a little inside baseball of who is the producer of the show. So now we know a little something about Jake.
Well, I appreciate you giving me the opportunity, Haggai. This was fun.
It's I like to learn about people and find out what's going on with them. And we'll be back, and we'll talk some taxes when we get back.
Sweet. Cool. I wasn't expecting that. Thank you.
We had a few minutes to fill.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Two birds with one stone, I guess.
That'll be Wes calling in.
Talk 173. Perfect. Good morning, Wes. How are you? Going well, thank you. We're going to be live in about 5-ish minutes for them to get you on, okay? Thank you. Please hold.
Yeah, I like doing things like that. I mean, you're the Monty Bob.
Hey, T-Bob. Hold up. I gotta run. It's for your... Oh, okay. That was a decent minute? Yeah, of course it was. Whatever, at least it's
That's 6:32 in the morning. How many?
Brian.
Let's see. See, I like the fact that Byron can look for that optimist point of view. He had Dallas's defense and his fantasy football team, so he racked up big. Way to go, Byron. Anything you could have done to pick against the Saints last night would have been a good idea. I need to get some of the tequila over there. My throat's kind of scratchy this morning. Yep.
Now, your WBRZ
Bless you, brother.
See an accident reported at WBRZ Traffic on Twitter.
This report is brought to you by Shaw Bills, where you can get up to $170 with the purchase of 4 eligible Michelin tires. Visit ShawBillsTire.com to learn more.
This is Insurance Commissioner Jim Donovan, reminding Medicare beneficiaries that open enrollment runs October 15th through December 7th. Open enrollment is the time to assess your health care needs and compare available plans and benefits. Your Medicare plan should meet
All right, YouTube world.
is available to answer your questions. Counselors provide free and unbiased guidance. Call us 1-800-259-5300 or log on to lbi.la.gov.
My son is not some statistic. My daughter's not a headline.
My girl, she's not someone's agenda.
What she is, he's irreplaceable. COVID hospitalizations of young people have tripled since the start of summer.
So I talked to my daughter's doctor about COVID vaccines.
She said they're highly effective in preventing hospitalizations.
And deaths, even from the Delta variant.
We can do this. Find vaccines near you at vaccines.gov, paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
More than 1 in 3 people will face cancer in their lifetime. Unfortunately,
So we're gonna find out Sunday where the Tigers are going bowling.
early detection can save your life.
We're gonna find out Sunday where the Tigers are going bowling.
Effective and accessible for
Whether it's the
free or low-cost screening programs. Go to cancer
Livingston Parish Bowl or the the Generette Bowl or Bunky Bowl, something along those lines.
Might as well be the toilet bowl, huh?
Oh, you know, I mean, the Birmingham Bowl, the Texas Bowl, it doesn't matter. It's a
Fruit
bowl
bowl.
game.
Fruit
It's-
basket.
It's just the ability to get out and hopefully they can pull off a win against, you know, somebody who they should be able to run over just because of talent alone.
Go to babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com.
Hey, this is Ken Coleman from the Ken Coleman Show. You can listen
They have
to
a
me
live read
weeknights
schedule,
from
so I'm
11
gonna play
p.m.
that
to
as well.
midnight.
Perfect.
Talk 107.3 FM.
No, that's cool.
Flavor of talk in Baton Rouge.
It's so quiet.
Holiday here, and I got 3 words for you. Pecan pie milkshake. It's like it every day of great burgers and booyah.
We add me to sour.
I don't mind.
Hope the guest doesn't keep it.
Nah. Wes is a buddy of mine, so he's a buddy.
Not my bag. I'm all about the pecan pie milkshake. Swing by booyah for lunch today. You know what? While you're there, enjoy delicious breakfast. Maybe think about having booyah over a little caterer at booyah.com last week. Had your holiday party catered with a burger bar, with a hot dog bar. Yes, it's not your normal holiday fare, but you know it's going to be fantastic, and you know your guests are going to love it. 2 locations in Booyah Burgers, Fries, and Shakes. This evening, just north of Junction Flex, or come on in at Highland Road. Swing by for lunch today. And think about booyah.com/catering for your upcoming festivities.
Okay, everybody, welcome back once again. This is Haggai Davis. Normally, you would be tuning in right now for a cup of tech gumbo, but you've got me all day today, so we're just going to spread the love around. We're going to talk a little bit right now. We're going to talk about some taxes. We have with us Wes Ulrich, who is a local CPA with the Apple Guerin CPA firm. Good morning, Wes.
Morning, Haggai. How are you doing?
Doing fine. How are you today?
Doing great, man. Just, doing taxes.
Oh, everybody's favorite thing in the world to do, and you get to do them a lot. How lucky are
That's,
you?
oh, very lucky. That's exactly right.
So, how did the tax season treat you this past year?
So this year, and honestly the year prior, it's been a rough one for preparers in Louisiana and really around the country. And COVID and pandemic related, like everybody else's challenges have been. There have been multiple weather and COVID-related extensions for us for our 2020 tax season. Our normal dates are April 15th. Well, then they were pushed back to May for COVID, then to June because of an ice storm, and then to August because of a flood, and then our normal October deadline was pushed back to January because of a hurricane. So it's been pretty challenging.
So
And
you've
there's
had a
been
floating
multiple-
calendar the whole year.
Oh, absolutely, and it's been like this really for 2 years, and it's happened before where we've had basically two tax years in one, and that's what's going to happen now. And just multiple COVID-related tax changes to digest for our business owners and for our individuals with the PPP, the Paycheck Protection Program, and the Employee Retention Tax Credits, and Provider Relief Fund, Main Street Recovery Program for our business owners. We've turned into a bit of a call center for various different programs.
You guys almost have as many acronyms as we do in IT.
Yes, a lot of alphabet soup going on over here in the tax world.
That is so much fun to hear. So, so what do we have looking forward going for the tax law changes that happen for 2021?
So there's always going to be an index of different types of adjustments as far as the standard deduction and different credits and different phase outs. But the main tax law changes are the COVID-related economic impact credit that most people received in March of this year. If you did not receive the $1,400 per person in your household, you can claim it on your 2021 tax return to make sure you get the full amount. If you receive more than you should have, that's okay. You don't have to pay it back. So everything's good there. Some good news for you this morning.
So wait, there's
There's
folks who
also-
somebody actually didn't get their $1,400 checks?
There are cases where someone would not have received it for just what's going on with the IRS. They've been a little busy, so they could have missed you.
Well, that's true. I guess they're all working from home as well. So
That's exactly right. There's also the advanced child tax credit. So that's the extra money that showed up for folks starting in July this year. A lot of people had no idea it was happening and until some money hit their bank account. This is for dependents. And the way it works is the child tax credit was increased from $2,000 per child to $3,000, and then if they're 5 and under, you can get up to $3,600 per child. So you would have received up to $300 per month per child if you had 5 and under, or $250 per month per child if for each one over 5 years old.
up to what age?
Up to, I believe it's 13, and then it starts to phase out, of course. So this is the biggest thing. That'll be a trap for folks when they file their tax return this year. If you received more than you should have, unfortunately, this one you will have to give back. So it is something that you're going to want to track and really report. And just understand, right now, if you have to give it back, we'll just put it to the side. Please don't spend it, because you know how Uncle Sam is. He's going to want that money when it comes time to pay.
Uncle Sam wants his cut.
That's right. That's exactly right. And there are actually a couple other changes. The dependent care credit, which is normally $3,000 max, is now moved up to $8,000 per child, or $16,000 really total. So that could help some folks out.
So what
And
if
then
you
the
got a 22-year-old in college? Does that still count?
That one, not so much.
Damn.
Depending
So
care would be
close.
if you had to send them to daycare. Hopefully, you're not doing that for your college age students.
Well,
Although
there are
there
times.
are parents out there where that feel that way for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
The other one that could affect some listeners is the required minimum distribution on your IRAs are back. They had a 1-year freeze for 2020 due to COVID, so that's back for 2021.
That's cool. So we've got about a minute left here in this segment. When we looking out there for next year, any other big surprises that anybody needs to be on the lookout for, or is that really the highlights?
That's the highlight for wrapping up the 2021 tax season. Of course, when we come back, we can talk more about what's lurking around the corner and what they're working on right now in the Senate.
Yeah, that's always an interesting thing as to what the boys and girls up there in D.C. are doing inside the Beltway with what's going on with the tax codes, and I'm glad that folks like you are out there paying attention to that stuff, so I don't have to.
Well, they make it difficult, that's for sure.
Yeah, they do, and so we'll talk a little bit more about that when we get back. This is the Brian Haldane Show. I'm Haggai Davis sitting in for Brian, who is out. We have Wes Ulrich, who is a local CPA, and in full disclosure, is also a good buddy of mine. So that's why we have Wes on with us, and just kind of sitting there talking about taxes, the fun stuff, And we'll be back to talk a little bit more about it when we get back from these commercial breaks. All right, Wes, going to put you on hold for a second. Yeah, I knew there was 30 seconds. I knew I had to fill. I didn't want to start the next question with him.
When I take all the audio and put it into post and make it into post, I get it from this player, and sometimes they just block out audio. So the entire first half of that is not there. So I'm gonna have to go through on YouTube, and one for one re-record the whole thing.
Why does it not pick it up? Because it be their 15-year-old computers?
Like it's just not saving it.
Right.
But it was like all throughout this morning.
Is it
Every hour since 4.
is it the 15-year-old computer that's underneath that's the problem?
Not that I'm trying to get out as soon as possible and not check my quality, because if I did, then I wouldn't post anything and I would just be. I have a system, man. I get it all done in 9/15 at the latest.
Did you break down any of the interviews yesterday? Yesterday's interviews, did you break down any of those and separate those out on the playback? Oh, they did? Okay, they're all up there. Awesome.
Mornings with Haggai Davis.
I'm sorry?
Hope no one needs to use the studio after the show. Or else I'm just gonna keep bouncing back and forth.
Thinking about taking a nap there under the table? You thinking about taking a nap?
I can't do that. If I was to do that, I'd sleep during 11.
See, I'm 5-minute nap and I'm good. A 5-minute nap for me is better than like a 1-hour nap screws me up.
Oh yeah. You're not. It's like a bad sleep.
Just let me close my eyes for 5 minutes, and I'm rocking and rolling.
More eligible Michelin tires. Visit shopbillstire.com to learn more.
I'm Jennifer Kishika with Your Money Now.
Your money now.
Says it will start delisting from the New York Stock Exchange and make plans to list in Hong Kong instead. The move comes less than 6 months after the tech giant listed in the U.S. Shares of DB have plunged 44% since its IPO on June 30th. The stock fell sharply last week after reports Chinese regulators have asked the firm's executives to formulate a plan to delist from the U.S. Regulators reportedly want a Chinese ride-hailing giant DB to delist because of concerns about leakage of sensitive data. Ford reported a 5.9% year-over-year increase in November sales, with its SUVs setting an all-time record for the month. It was the only major automaker still posting monthly sales figures that didn't report a decline, with Toyota, Honda, Hyundai, Kia, and Subaru among those seeing a drop during the period. On Wall Street, futures little changed after stocks soared yesterday. The Dow up 617. That's your money now.
The holidays are around the corner, and finding the perfect gift is tricky. Omaha Steaks makes it easy to send friends and family the best steaks of their life. An unforgettable gift guaranteed to be loved and shared. Go to omahasteaks.com and enter quality into the search bar to order the perfect gift package. For $99.99, you get 24 entrees like the world-famous bacon-wrapped filet mignons, chicken breasts, sides, desserts, and so much more. When you use the code quality,
So much more.
8 Omaha Steaks burgers free with your order. We've all heard the reports about shortages and shipping delays, so don't wait. Order the perfect gift package today at omahasteaks.com and get 8 free burgers when entering the code QUALITY. Achieve gifting greatness with Omaha Steaks. Perfectly aged, tender, and guaranteed delicious. Incredible flavor, incredible value, and 100% guaranteed. That's omahasteaks.com. Keyword quality.
Okay, everybody. Once again, we're back here. Haggai Davis sitting in for Brian. And we're talking with Wes Ulrich, a noted CPA here in town. So, Wes, right before the break, we started talking about what's going on. What are the boys and girls up there in D.C. doing? What do we have to look forward to?
Well, we have plenty to look forward to, Haggai, sarcastically. The Senate is hopefully going to have the bill approved by Christmas, right? So hopefully we'll be able to tell our clients before the year ends how to prepare for next year, with maybe a week to spare. So most of what they're talking about are not going to directly affect most taxpayers. But as we all know, anytime they make changes, indirectly everybody's affected. There are 4 major parts of it, or I guess highlights that could affect folks. 2, it looks like, are out for now, but they've been discussed a lot in the past, so it's worth noting. And 2 are still in. The 2 that are out, they're trying to raise the highest bracket from 37% to 39.6%. That as of now is no longer a part of the bill. And then the capital gains rate increase for long-term capital gains from 20 to 25% is now out. That's been back and forth for a long time since they started discussing this, but apparently they've negotiated it out. The 2 that are still in, that one good news, one bad news. We'll start with the bad news first. There's a net investment income tax. It's on everyone's tax return. As it states right now, it's just for investment income. So it's an additional 3.8% on investment income if you're over a certain threshold. As of now, it does not affect business owners who are active in their business. And this new bill right now would make all pass-through activity subject to this 3.8%. So anyone who owns a business would have an additional 3.8% added to their business income. That one is all-encompassing and will affect a lot of our clients, so it's certainly one we're keeping an eye on. The other one that everyone hears about because it's been talked about a lot in the news is the SALT cap changes, right? SALT standing for state and local taxes. It's part of your itemized deductions. Currently, there's a $10,000 SALT cap. The Democrats would like to raise that to $80,000, and that's where it stands right now, which could be a good thing for taxpayers. It's just that they're going to phase it out eventually to where there will be no cap. But if it's raised up to $80,000, more taxpayers and more of our clients will be able to deduct more on their tax return. So that one could be helpful, but that is certainly one you hear a lot about in the news right now.
Okay, so there's a lot of questions out there that, I know I've kind of been thinking about stuff like cryptocurrency and what's the reality with cryptocurrency and taxes?
So crypto has been a hot topic here at the office since I guess around early September, and a lot of it to do with the local game coin here in town. It's relatively new to most folks and to the IRS. Now, it's been around a little while, but it's specifically for folks in this area, it's relatively new. The way it's taxed, and what I guess most people, to make it easier for them, is look at it as a stock sale. So anytime you do a trade in cryptocurrency, you're basically selling that stock or that crypto.
So is that that's a honor system, isn't it? Because there's no real record of that, or is there?
So in the last bill that was actually passed, 2024 is when they're making it a requirement to issue 1099s reporting all crypto trades. Now, what makes it a little daunting right now is it's not necessary, it's not required, and not every exchange is in the U.S. or under U.S. jurisdiction. So it makes it very much what you just said, the honor system, which let's face it, the tax return preparation itself is the honor system. There are just some checks and balances in place to make sure you're not cheating. But yes, this one is very much the Wild Wild West right now as far as reporting your trades. Now, of course, we recommend reporting all of your trades on your tax return, but we understand that some folks may not feel that way.
Yeah, that sounds like that's going to be really, really hard to kind of play with, because I mean, having a little bit of experience with the cryptocurrency and the way IT works and everything, and like you said, with a lot of these currencies that are based outside of the U.S., I mean, if you're based in the Cayman Islands or wherever, how are they going to issue 1099s?
Well, they're going to be required by IRS rules to do it, and of course, since you're a U.S. citizen, you're required to report it as well. But there's always the how do they know part of it for sure. Now, there is a checkbox on your tax return that you're supposed to check, say that you're doing any type of crypto trading, so that there are some measurements in place to make sure that you're doing what you're supposed to do.
Got about a minute left here, Wes. What should people start, really thinking about, looking forward to in upcoming next year when April comes around?
This is the time of year where we're meeting with clients and calling them and discussing, this is what's going on for 2021. Here's what we think is going to happen in 2022. But you really should be speaking to your CPA. If you don't have one, contact one, just to keep yourself up to date of what's going on and make sure you have a plan. It's never fun cutting checks to the IRS, but it would be helpful to know if you will need to come April 15th. It's not good to find out when you're filing your return on April 15th.
Absolutely. And that's Wes Ulrich with Wes Ulrich with Apple Gearing. Thanks, Wes. We'll talk soon. So you
Thank
listen
you.
to Talk 107.3 FM.
Protect your retirement. The Presley Group time, 7 o'clock.
WBRP Baker Baton Rouge, 98.1 HD3. Talk 107.3 FM.
Tracking Omicron in the U.S. is probably over worldwide. Make early determinations. School shooting investigation. Shutdown averted. Biopsy funded. Good morning. That's Steve Caveman with the CBS World News Roundup. The Omicron variant of the coronavirus has now been detected in at least 5 states. In New York, Governor Kathy Hochul says at least 5 cases have been identified.
While this may be highly prejudicial, it's from early evidence. We want you to know that the early cases that arise are not life-threatening, tend to be minor cases.
CBS's Nikki Matisse reports so far all infections in the U.S. have been reported to have been mild.
All right, so hopefully we will hear from 7 o'clock guest, or we're going to have to tap dance through half an hour. I have not heard from Bishop Johnson. He should be calling. Mm-hmm. Okay. So if we don't hear from him, what are we going to talk about? What's out there? If he doesn't, do you have anything for this? Can we do this day in history, or have you prepared for any of that yet? Or I thought, well, I mean, I'm just at the last second here. He's supposed to be calling. Haven't heard. If not, all right, we'll just please do, because that may be. I'll fill the first segment. Yeah, we may do that for the 7:15 segment. I'll talk about. I just upgraded to the iPhone 13 Pro Max. Run as many live reads as you can right now. Run them all. All right. Well, I will also do. I'm going to take the opportunity to thank the sponsors for Tech Gumbo.
See an accident? Report it at WPRZ Traffic on Twitter. Report is brought to you by Shawbills, where you can get up to $170 with the purchase of 4 eligible Michelin tires. Visit ShawbillsTire.com to learn more.
Do you need the headphones back? Because I don't need them for a while. Okay, everybody, welcome back once again. This is Haggai Davis II sitting in for Brian Haldane, who's out for the day. Normally on Fridays, I'm here with a cup of Tech Gumbo. That would have been the last half hour or so, but you got me now. A little bit about Tech Gumbo. We are in our 8th year. We just started our 8th year with Tech Gumbo. We do have a couple sponsors. Love to talk about the sponsors of the show. Cardinal Capital, they do a good job. If you are a business and you need to raise some money, they know how to package loans to bring them to the bank for you. Really good guys. If you Chris, Gary, and Rob over there do such a good job. And then General Informatics, who, by the way, I happen to work for as well. We're an IT company, been around for over 20 years with 120 employees. And we do IT services across the Southeast, actually. We're a really growing company, and we have just some amazing technology that we can help you with. And that's who helps bring Tech Gumbo to the show. I did recently have to upgrade my phone. My iPhone 8 died. Accidentally, shall we say. So, because I was not in the mood to really go out and get a new phone, but I had to. And gravity has a way of making you change out phones from time to time, shall we say. So I've got the iPhone 13 Pro Max. It's a good phone. It's a much bigger screen. I have to tell you though, I'm kind of underwhelmed by it. I'm whelmed, I guess is it better. I'm not underwhelmed. I'm not overwhelmed by it. It's a nice phone. The upgrade process was pretty easy. You take the SIM card out of your old phone, you put it into the new phone. That was a relatively painless process, and then it just transfers data and everything. That's all cool and fun. I'm not finding a whole lot of really new great advances in this new phone, other than that you don't have a start button anymore.
It sounds like an iPhone to me.
It is an iPhone. It's just an iPhone. And, I mean, they stopped advancing or stopped making things a whole lot better on the iPhones a long time ago. And now
Sounds like the iPhone 5 or something.
So now I've got, 4 or 5 different lenses on the back for pictures, as opposed to the 2 or 3 lenses that were on the iPhone 8 that I had. And now iOS 15 is okay. That's cool. No big deal. Just kind of, it's a phone. That's about as good as I can say when it comes to the iPhone. I mean, I don't know. I miss. I had a Windows phone for a while. That was the best phone I ever had. I loved my Windows phone. Would love to go back in time to be able to use a Windows phone again. And I can't. because Microsoft pulled the plug on it. So I'm stuck using the iPhone 13 Pro Max and just kind of stumbling along with that until whatever happens. Tech Gumbo is I'm Haggai the second, Haggai the third. My oldest son is the co-host, and we just talk about all things technology, the past, present, and future of tech. We don't do we try not to do any acronyms or geek speak. We just want to talk about technology that's interesting to you. We want to talk about what's important to us and what's important to you on Tech Gumbo. It is also a podcast. We take the two segments and we release them as podcast. And I mean, anywhere where you get a podcast, whether it's iTunes, Spotify, Podbean, Google Music, Amazon's, TuneIn, Stitcher, Podcast Addict, Overcast, Player FM, and Podchaser. I mean, that's a lot of different places where you can find podcasts. We do have our Tech Gumbo mug we like to give away. If you send a text to 225-255-0431 with the question of the week, we will send you a Tech Gumbo mug.
Haldane here. Need to ask you about those everyday aches and pains, those nagging injuries. You know where I'm going with this. Talking to you about Baton Rouge Physical Therapy. They've got 6 locations throughout the greater Baton Rouge area. They've been around for 60 years. Let me tell you what goes on at Baton Rouge Physical Therapy, okay? They sit you down. They find out what's wrong and how you got to where you are right now. Maybe you live with your back. Maybe you're hunched over a computer all day long. It doesn't matter. They're going to find out your comfort levels and working through the problems, your mobility issues, and working back through them. They treat you like family at Baton Rouge Physical Therapy. You can learn more at brptlake.com, brptlake.com, or give them a call at 917-9185. They've been around for 60 years. They've got 6 locations throughout the greater Baton Rouge area. You will find them in Baton Rouge. You'll find them in Ascension. You will find them in Livingston, and you can get back to being your best you. Don't let physical limitations slow you down. Visit brptlake.com today. Attorney Peyton Murphy has been fighting insurance companies for over 28 years and recently won an $18.9 million verdict for a crash victim. Trust his experience.
Okay.
In Baton Rouge. Results may vary.
Welcome back. We've missed you. We know it's been tough. Because rebuilding your business isn't for the faint of heart. Your business needs a jump start. And we're here to help. Introducing Surge, symmetrical speed fiber internet from Intel Business.
Today.
Revved up data speeds at 30% off, plus 3 months free. We're glad you're back. And we're here to make your business surge. Intel Business. Offer valid for 3-year contract for 2 or more business services.
Week 13 in the NFL continues Sunday when the Kansas City Chiefs host the Denver Broncos. Tune in Sunday night at 7 on your home for Sunday Night Football. Talk 107.3.
Okay.
The new flavor of talk.
Now, your WBRZ traffic update from Ashley Fouché.
Yeah.
If we want to start a whole conversation about these, let's do it.
Okay.
As far as birthdays go, that's going to take a lot more time. And
See an accident? Report it at WBRZ Traffic.
This report is brought to you by Shawbills, where you can get up to
All right.
$170 with the purchase of 4 eligible Michelin tires. Visit ShawbillsTire.com to learn more.
Okay, everybody. Welcome back once again. This is Haggai Davis II, sitting in for Brian Haldane. Jacob, have you ever signed up for the Postal Service's delivery with the notification where you can they'll send you pictures? It's the USPS Informed Delivery is what it's called. But they send you actual pictures of the envelopes that you're going to be receiving in the mail that day.
Huh. I can't say that I have signed up for that. I didn't actually know that existed.
Yeah, I don't know, had it for quite some time now, but it's I think it's fascinating that they take a snapshot of all of the envelopes of everything you're getting in the mail. If you're getting a delivery that the UPS is delivering, they'll let you know that they're bringing a delivery out to the house as well. It's just kind of fun to sit there and say, "Oh, look, I'm getting mail today," because it's not every day you get mail anymore.
True.
I mean,
That is true.
So many people don't put things in the mail anymore. They just send emails of stuff.
Yeah, you get electronic mail every day, that's for sure.
Yes.
Doesn't sound like you're too fond of that.
Oh, it's not that I'm not fond of it. It's the avalanche of the email that when you have your personal email, you have your work email, you have and it can be a lot. And then when you get text messages on top of the emails and all of the communications that fall in on top of you, it can be daunting at times. And it's fascinating when you're trying to get through your business day, how you prioritize when you respond to things. Are you somebody who you see an email, you respond right away, or do you block out time as to when you're going to, like, I'm going to respond to email between 3 and 5 o'clock and 7 and 9 in the morning. Anytime else, I'm not going to respond to it?
For me, it kind of depends. If I get an email for work or if it's something important that I want to deal with immediately, then I will stop what I'm doing and I will address that like it's a text message. But most of the time, that isn't the case. I usually just wait until I find myself having a free moment of time, usually after work, after I've gone home, or when I'm starting to wind down for bed. That's usually when I check emails if I were to keep a schedule to it. But if I have something important to address, then I would do it immediately.
I basically triage email. If it's something, when it pops into the inbox, depending upon who it's from, if it's something that I think is important right away, then yes, I will respond to it or do something with it. But if it's typical email, okay, that's end of the day stuff, the last half hour of the day, or the first hour of the morning, the next morning before I'm going to fool with it. It's just, you can't sit there and respond to every email all day. The same way you can't respond to every text message every day, all day. You've got to, got to prioritize when you can respond to things and when you can't. At least I find that, because, man, with the avalanche, I get probably anywhere 75 to 100 emails a day at times, and sometimes it's only 50 emails a day, but it's at least 50 every day kind of stuff. And so you've got this bombardment of communications coming at you. It's how do you deal with it? And sometimes it just drives me crazy that I'm trying to get something done over here. I'll get back to you. You're sitting there talking to the computer. You ever do that? Just talk to the screen and say, "I'll get back to you."
I think that's you. I think that's just you, Haggai.
Maybe that's just me. I mean, I have I guess I do at times. I have conversations with my computer screen all the time, just to cathartic. Just
any interesting conversations?
Oh, I always have great conversations with myself. The best conversations I have are with myself.
With your computer.
Yes. Oh, well, some of those we're not going to use.
Can't say on air?
Can't say on air some of those conversations because, I use a Windows computer. I love my Windows computer, Windows 10 PC, but I've been cussing Microsoft since the mid-90s, yes, like everybody else who's ever used a Windows computer, or even those of you who use Macs. I know you get frustrated out there with your technology as well.
Oh, of course. If you don't, then you're a robot yourself.
Yeah, and so when you're somebody like myself, I'm an immigrant to the technology world. I was not born into the tech world the way you were. You went through high school with broadband internet.
Yes.
You went through college with a laptop in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
I was a junior in college before I sat in front of a computer screen, and so I'm an immigrant to your world, and I grew up in the time when you used to write paper checks and put that check in the mail and put a stamp on it when you sent it to somebody to pay your bills and things, as opposed to now when people just use an app on their phone or website to pay their bills. You used to have to go to the bank and go talk to a bank teller, as
Yeah.
opposed to doing everything on the website nowadays.
Nowadays, you can get a notification on your phone. You click one button, you look at your screen, and then it sends it automatically as it recognized your face.
And so so I'm an immigrant into the tech world, as opposed to somebody like yourself who was born into it. And it's when you accept that, when you're my age and okay, I'm going to have to adapt. I'm going to have to learn this language of this new person to find out what's going on. That's when you sit there and decide, okay, am I going to adapt to this new land, to this new language, to this new way of living, or am I going to, just sit there and complain about back in my day and not, so that's one of the reasons why I love the tech world, because I did learn to adapt to it. I kind of went through a lot of cathartic training, a lot of frustrations and everything along the way, and it's been fun to be in the immigrant, if you will, in the new land, this new digital land, and that's kind of where we are. Oh, okay, great. Let's we have a guest with us, Bishop Johnson. Are you there?
Yes, I am. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. So glad you could join us.
Glad to be with you.
I wanted to have you on today because I wanted to learn a little bit about different cultures, different philosophies, different traditions, and Rinaldi Jacobs is a very, very close friend of mine. He's somebody who's a member of your church, and he recommended that I reach out to you, and so I don't I'd like to know what goes on. Listen, number one, which church is your church?
The name of our church is Living Faith Christian Center, right here in Baton Rouge on Winburn Avenue.
Okay, and so what are some of the traditions that you guys have at your church as you lead up to the Christmas season?
Well, part of what we do is we do a lot of teaching on the prophecies of Jesus Christ. As a Christian church, that's two of the most important things is the birth of Christ and the death and resurrection of Christ. So at this season, there were so many prophecies in the Bible that talks about the coming of a Messiah.
Mm-hmm. And so in the Catholic faith where I am, we have Advent right now. We're preparing for the birth of Christ, and so when you're leading up to the season, is there a specific thing? Is this a specific thing you refer to as this season, or this is just a regular time?
Well, even though I was considered Protestant, it's still a acknowledgement of the Advent, and of course this is kind of covers general Christian theology of this season, so it carries some of the same traditions, not exactly, but honoring those basic principles of the Bible that talks about the Messiah, the coming of a Christ, and a true Savior of the world.
That's great. So, if I know you're a man of theology, you have a theology degree and everything. So, when you're if I was going to ask you describe your church versus, say, a Baptist church or a Methodist church, how would you explain to people what goes on inside the Living Christian Center?
Well, because my upbringing is in the Baptist church, our church is what we consider non-denominational, full gospel. We carry pretty much the same theological principles of Protestant, Baptist, Methodist. It is founded on the faith of Jesus Christ, that we believe that salvation is through Christ alone, and that a person's commitment and belief and confession in Christ is the way of salvation, and that we believe that baptism follows your confession of faith that brings you in as a believer, as an understanding believer.
Okay, and so it is. How would you say you differ from, let's say, a Methodist church or some of the other different Protestant faiths?
In this day, well, years ago there used to be, maybe a difference in, some of the spiritual aspects of being filled with the Spirit, speaking in tongues, those kinds of things. But that sort of happens in a lot of denominations, Catholic,
sure,
Protestants, or what have you. There is an embrace of the Holy Spirit, which that was one of the teachings of Christ, is that when he leaves, he would pray the Father that he would send the Holy Spirit. And for Pentecost, that outpouring that you find in the book of Acts, that's what's embraced in our church and many churches a wider span. The more the Bible is been taught and the more people fellowship across denominational lines, it's sort of a melting pot of theological ideas that we're much more common than we are different.
So do you have any specific traditions that you like to do in your church in this time of year?
Normally, we would have our worship on Christmas Day. We do adjust it when it falls like on a Saturday. One of the things being that we appreciate the family traditions of Christmas trees and giving gifts and those things. But in the Bible, that was the angels sang when Jesus was born in that manger, shepherds came. And so it was really a focus on God's gift coming to us and not so much giving gifts to each other. We do believe in those traditions of sharing gifts and making sure kids have toys, but the main focus is for believers who understand that Christ is your Savior, that day you honor him. Even though we know that December 25th is probably not the exact date that he was born, but we take it as a day that we can join with other faiths and other Christians and celebrate the birth of Christ.
I do very much appreciate, yes, it's the same guy on the cross for everyone who is a Christian, but we all have our different kind of ways of getting there, kind of thing. And it has always impressed me that everyone has such a different, passion about how they accept Christ in their life. If you're a Christian, because we're going to be speaking with a rabbi here in a little while as well, just to have a full flavor of different things. And so I would like to know, when you're predominantly an African American church, is that correct?
That's correct. Yes.
And gospel, you do a lot of gospel there as well, correct?
Yes, we do.
See, that's really fascinating. I've never been to a gospel church before.
Oh my goodness! Well, we want to invite you to come. We had a concert the other night with John P. Key, and it was so much of the singing of these old songs that we grew up on. And in the African American church, regardless of the denomination, Methodist, Baptist, and it wasn't so much. And you had the Pentecostal churches as well, and we are very close kindred to them, like Church of God in Christ and some of the other Pentecostal type churches. But the singing, even when you didn't have musical instruments, is the singing, the praying is such integral part of a person's expression of their faith. And so where maybe in Catholic, where you have the liturgy and the priest sort of does a lot of the things, and the parishioners, of course, respond. But in some of the other traditions, such as ours, there's a real involvement of the people in the expression of their faith in Christ, with the singing, the shouting, the praising, and those kind of things.
That sounds like a really wonderful experience. I'm going to take you up on that invite, and
please do.
I'm going to call my friend Rinaldi and come to your church. That sounds
You know,
interesting.
and you would be quite welcome. And I think this is really the foundation of Christianity. You know, is that we love one another. So it's we do not believe that because people express their faith in God a different way that they would not be welcome. It's we should be welcome and we should respect the uniqueness of our experience because many times this is a lifelong learned expression of God, and you know it would be not Christ-like to not honor the uniqueness, say, of Catholic. Because my mom's sister is Catholic. I used to go to Catholic church when I was a kid. I did not understand it because you guys were kneeling down and getting up, but it's part of your expression of worship and how you learn to make your contact with God.
Bishop, really thank you for spending some time with us this morning and helping everyone to learn a little bit more about the way you worship God, and hope you have a wonderful Christmas season.
Well, thank you so much. I wish the same for you, and I genuinely would like to invite you to come and just enjoy our service. Our singing is very expressive. Sometimes it's a little loud, but that's good. We enjoy it that way, and hand clapping, and so you would just, each person gets to express it the way they feel about God, and that's what I love.
Thank you, sir. You have a great day.
Well, thank you. God bless.
Bye-bye.
I have enough of this day in history on reserve if we need it. Let's use it today because it's the rest of today. But if they don't call, then we have it. Also, I just looked on YouTube. Byron said if you need to kill time, it's against you. Open up partial from YouTube.
I saw that. I know. Yeah, Byron. I saw that after the bishop finally had called in. So that probably would have been a good idea. If I was a radio professional, I might have known to do that. But being the hobbyist at best at this, the rank amateur, if you will. Okay.
Senator Bill Cassidy says Louisiana will be receiving $101 million this fiscal year in federal infrastructure funding for addressing the state's clean water needs.
Did it sound like I was scrambling out there? Let's see. Next guest is just a couple of minutes away. He'll be here any moment.
Cassidy says the funding from the infrastructure bill will also go towards replacing lead pipes. Venture Global announces they are investing more than $10 million in a new liquefied natural gas facility in Cameron Parish. Louisiana Economic Development Secretary John Pearson says the company already has a $7 million facility in Calcasieu Parish, and the new plant has an added feature.
Louisiana's Haynesville shale gas and other gas network and being exported after being
He's going to be coming in. He's going to be here in like 2 minutes. We don't go on. Is there a live read after this as well?
The next one's at 52.
All right. But we're starting at 7:38. So I got like 5 minutes till the news, right?
Yeah, I'll do the live reads at 52.
Well, if he's here, we'll go ahead and start it. But when he should be here, he just sent me a text that he's just a few minutes away.
Need to be let in.
Yeah.
Talk 107.3 Baton Rouge.
Best advice to travelers this morning has been to leave a little early as you do not want to be speeding and trying to get to work or school. But this is all heads up. You want to really be able to take it easy out there. It's typically peak season in the split. The good news is we're not seeing any big traffic problems because of this. So no other traffic headaches going on other than the new facility. Be aware though, the clock repair still has some issues causing delays there. If
down to only 4 people streaming right now. There's only 4 people on YouTube. I've run everybody off.
Attorney Penny Murphy has been fighting insurance companies for over 28 years and recently won an $18.9 million verdict for a crash victim. Trust his experience. Offices in Baton Rouge. Results may vary.
Hey, Jodi for Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, and I'm proud to bank with a local bank. Gulf Coast Bank is invested in our community by giving time, talent, and dollars to hundreds of nonprofits, making our neighborhood a better place. When I need them, I enjoy their friendly personal service. But when I don't have time to go to the bank, their technology allows me to bank anytime from anywhere. Be local, bank local, choose Gulf Coast Bank, the bank that cares about you. Member FDIC.
The bank that cares about you.
Bistro is cooking with love. Delicious Cajun goodness for lunch, dinner, or family combo to-go meals with limited dine-in or curbside pickup. Call 225-749-6354.
At Louisiana Bistro, when I get something with some help.
We've lost so many people to COVID. So many moms and dads, favorite uncles, older sisters, and best friends. But vaccines can help prevent serious illness and death from COVID in more than 9 out of 10 cases. So now almost all COVID deaths are preventable, and so are the broken hearts they leave behind. We can do this. Find COVID vaccines near you at vaccines.gov. That's vaccines.gov. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Welcome back to the quickest podcast ever. Brought to you by Kohl's. Today's topic, holiday traditions. They're the best. Agreed. So I went to Kohl's and got 40% off pedal dense throws for movie night and 40% off outerwear.
Ooh, for caroling.
More like sledding. Also got an Amazon Echo Show 8 so the kids can bake with grandma.
Oh, that's so sweet.
That was the extra 25% I saved and the Kohl's cashing on.
I take it saving's one of your favorite traditions, too.
You know it. Select styles, offers and December 8th. Some exclusions apply. Amazon coupons do not apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
For a hole in your roof or a whole new roof, GoRoof.com. Bringing you the news you can use with Brian Kilmeade and common sense for your dollars and cents.
Okay, so we're going live in 30 seconds. All right, because he's at the red light.
It's okay. You can just talk a little bit.
Yep.
I'm gonna walk in.
Is anybody going to be able to let him in?
I will.
Okay.
Keep talking until he's coming in, and I'll brief him when we get there. I'll brief him and let him know what the sitch is.
He's in the parking lot now.
Okay. I'm gonna lead you in, and then once I get you there, I'm going.
Let it play. I like this. Music back from when I was a kid. Old school stuff. Okay. So, this is Haggai Davis sitting in for Brian Haldane. Brian's off on a spiritual retreat. Good for him. The theme of the morning is a minister, a rabbi, and a deacon walk into a studio. We're going to have a lot more fun with that, as we're going to be joined in a few minutes by Rabbi Barry Weinstein, and then also Deacon Jodi Moscona from the Catholic faith. And so we're going to have a whole lot of different things that we can talk about. Right now, we're going to be joined by Levar.
Yes.
Pull up here, get you to the microphone. There we go, Levar Robinson. Levar, welcome to Talk 107.3.
Good morning. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So you guys have a real special project coming up.
Yes.
This is your 4th annual father-daughter dance.
Yes.
Now, as somebody who didn't raise daughters, but my wife loved going to the father-daughter dances that she went to with her dad.
Right.
Tell me about why this is an important event.
Yeah, so the bond between a father and daughter is very special. Even though we understand that, mom should teach girls this and that and all types of things, but bonds between fathers and daughters are real special. There are certain things that fathers and daughters talk about that moms and daughters can't talk about. There are certain things that that daughters come to fathers to ask to be their source of security, their comfort, right? That want to show them how they should be treated once they become older. So
They're also that protector too.
that protector, correct? That is right, right. So that's why with the father and daughter dance, it's one way that we create an atmosphere of bonding time, love, fun, laughter.
So tell me a little bit about the organization that you represent first.
Yes, so Fathers on the Mission, also known as FOAM, I founded in 2017. I'm from Baton Rouge, born and raised, and throughout my years of becoming a father, one thing I found is that resources for fatherhood was lacking. There are a lot of resources in Baton Rouge, no mistaken, there are a lot of resources, but to me they're hidden.
Right.
So one thing I do is I go out and find the resources and bring them to a neutral location and make them available for fathers and father figures to find, to use, to help better themselves. It doesn't matter if you're black, white, pink, purple, fat, skinny, rich, poor. It doesn't matter. It's all about the one common term of fatherhood.
Right.
So that's very, very important. So I just felt that need to bring something to our city, to our communities that is very beneficial, not for just one or select group of men, but for all fathers. And that's something that's very, very dear to my heart. I feel that if something like this was around when I became a father and other fathers, it would be very supportive and very helpful to us.
So so you have daughters, obviously.
Yes.
How old are your kids?
So my daughters are 22 and 19. I'm sorry, and 9.
22 and 9. Okay. Big difference there.
Yes.
So you're taking your 9-year-old to the father-daughter dance here?
Yes.
And when is it?
Saturday, December the 18th.
And where's it going to be?
It's going to be at Helix Aviation Academy. That's the new aviation school on the backside of the airport.
So if somebody wants to be a part of the father-daughter dance, how do they get involved?
Yes, so they can register on Eventbrite. You can put in the search bar FOAM, put in there father, fatherhood, daughter. You can put those different search words in the search bar of Eventbrite, and it'll bring up the event to where you can sign up. Also, they can go to our website, fathersonthemission.com, to our event page, and it also is there also.
And so what's going to happen? What all is going to go on at the dance?
Great question. So at the dance is going to be great music for fathers and daughters. It's going to be a catered dinner that's geared towards the father and daughters. There's going to be dancing, laughter, fun. One of the best parts of it is that we're going to have different raffles and door prizes for the fathers and for the daughters.
Is there any cost?
It's $5. One thing we put on the, we really don't. The only reason why we charge just the minimum of $5 is just to try to put something back into the organization. Again, it's basically just trying to create the atmosphere for all fathers and daughters to come out and have a good time.
I love this idea. I think this is just so cool because, so many times, as a dad, so many times you hear about things for moms and mothers, right. and just, oh, yeah, and then there's dad. Okay, dad, fine. To have that, hey, here's something, Dad, you can do with your daughter.
Right.
I just, I had sons. Mm-hmm. We did Boy Scouts. We went out in the woods
right.
and,
Camp Avondale.
We did all the big camps. But that was, we weren't going to a father-son dance or something
right.
like that. That didn't happen. There wasn't those kind of bonding moments because our we were throwing pine cones at things in the woods.
Dirty.
Yeah, go sleep in the woods.
Right.
That's what we did. I think this is fun. I mean, this is something that you doesn't get to do on a regular basis.
Right. Yeah. Also with it, we have our suit giveaway. So if a father figure that's bringing a young lady, or just in general, if you need a suit, we have a suit bank that we just partnered with Suiting 101. So we have an abundance of men's suits that we're going to have available at our next fatherhood meeting, which is this Thursday at 7 p.m. That's something else we do. We have monthly fatherhood meetings. So we definitely, if you want to say, hey, man, I don't have a suit and I would like to wear a suit, well, you come and you ain't got to spend no money. Come to our meeting. We're going to have free suits, great quality suits available for free.
Okay, so if somebody wants to get involved,
Mm-hmm.
they want to help out your organization, what's the best thing that they can do?
So the best thing they could do is, don't just take my word, look for action, right? Go to our website, fathersonthemission.com, see what we're doing, see what's going on, seeing what the organization is about. Our Facebook page is FOAM, FOAM, see what we're doing, see what the organization is about. Come and participate, right? Like I say, we have the information about our monthly fatherhood meetings on the website, which our next one is this Thursday at 7 p.m. We have our meetings at 7 p.m. so that we can get off work, take a little break, quick break, and 7 p.m. come and enjoy the great topics that we have. This topic on this week, this Thursday, going to be playtime, the perfect gift. We have lots of giveaways. We gave this football season, we gave away 4 tickets to, I want to say, 5 LSU home games.
Oh, wow.
So we have some great raffles. We have a partnership with Walmart Zachary where we get a lot of donations and we raffle those out too. So again, go on our website. Even if you want to be involved as a sponsor, donor, or a volunteer, we have an informational page where you can go and fill it out. And also being a sponsor, right? None of these things do nonprofit work go on without great sponsors. So we are opening our arms to anyone that would like to be a sponsor of this dance or any other activity that we do. So you can definitely go to our website and contact us about those opportunities.
So the good news is you're more than just a one event a year thing. You're year-round.
Oh, yes, definitely.
So what are some of the other fun things you do during the rest of the year?
Right. So as I mentioned, we do our monthly fatherhood meetings, which we just started doing back in person. I want to say in August we started that back. Which again, our monthly fatherhood meetings where we talk about pillars of fatherhood. We discuss pillars of fatherhood topics. We may have professionals, facilitators come in and have a dialogue discussion to where nobody's talking at us, but we're having a conversation about different things that matter concerning fatherhood. The weekend prior to Father's Day weekend, we have our celebration of fatherhood event. We move around through our partnership with Breck. We go to different Breck parks and have these free, fun activities, again, for where fathers and father figures can bring their kids and enjoy different free activities, food, entertainment. This year, we did it at the park in Valley Park, and again, it was free food, free activities. We had like a circus type thing to the event itself. So again, that's our celebration of fatherhood event. And then we also do youth group mentoring. We go out and mentor different groups of kids, talking to them about different life skills, different things that can help them be their best. We have a program called Enhance Your Greatness, where we have different facilitators, great men throughout the city that we'll meet up with these young kids and go through 6 sessions. And give them also, again, one thing I believe is giving away, right? Rewarding people for coming out and participating, getting up on their Saturday mornings or whatever it is, for coming out and showing their enthusiasm and things like that. So we have, you can easily find out more about the different programs that we have on our website. Again, fathersonthemission.com, our Facebook page, FOAM. And then also, if you have any questions for myself, you can feel free to contact me at 225-247-2106.
And so, obviously, with the father-daughter event coming up here in a couple of weeks, it's not just a father-daughter organization, though.
Correct.
I mean, it's about being a dad.
Yes.
And being fathers on a mission.
That's right.
I love that. Being a dad was the greatest thing I ever did.
Yeah.
And I've had so much fun with my kids as they were growing up. And we just spent a whole week together in New York City. My wife and kids. And they're adults though. You know, so still being able to spend time with the family is just it was really, really fun. So I'm excited to hear that. What was the genesis? Where did you come up with the idea that you needed to do this?
Yeah, so growing up, my dad, for his own reasons, wasn't involved in my life. And I seen the struggles of me growing up, learning how to do different man things I should have known. And then also, when I became a father, not knowing the things that I should have known, that I feel I should know as a father, and seeing the same struggle with other men. So I think through that in prayer, it told me, God put it in my heart to, hey, this is something that we need to do to help solve, eliminate some of these issues that we have going on.
Levar, I love your mission, and I love what you're doing. I think this is such a great deal. Fathers on a Mission, go find out more information about them, go back to the website one more time.
www.fathersonamission.com.
And the father and daughter dance is coming up.
Saturday, December 18th, 5 p.m. at Helix Aviation Academy.
And thank you for spending some time with us this morning.
Good morning. Thank you for inviting me.
You bet.
Awesome.
That was great.
Awesome.
Hi, Rabbi. You're downstairs?
Thank you.
Oh, okay. Well, do you know where the studio is up on the second floor? Oh. Yeah.
Some people come here and they freeze. Yeah. Like, they're just kind of nervous, and if there's another person that let them do the talking, it's a guess.
Sorry, I got another guest. Thank you so much.
Appreciate the invitation. So.
This was great. And because Paulo messed us up on the radio. So short.
Go to omahasteaks.com and enter quality into the search bar to order the perfect gift package. For $99.99, you'll get 24 entrees like the world-famous bacon wrap filet mignons, chicken breasts, sides, desserts, and so much more. When you use the code QUALITY, you'll get an additional 8 Omaha Steaks burgers free with your order. We've all heard the reports about shortages and shipping delays, so don't wait. Order the perfect gift package today at Omaha.
I mean, what is this station?
This is Talk 107.3 FM.
Oh,
So, a few minutes before we have one other segment, and then the news break.
you're the host?
I'm the guest host.
Oh,
Brian Haldane is normal doing the show. This is mornings with Brian Haldane, but he's off on a spiritual retreat for the weekend.
oh.
So filling in for me.
And your name is
Haggai.
Haggai. Interesting name.
Yes, as a rabbi, it should be.
Okay.
We have one more in between then, not talk about news. Fun stuff.
I'm glad I'm here early. I like being early.
Like that you are here.
Better than being late like our other guests.
It's okay. So yes, Haggai being an Old Testament name, a Hebrew name. It's my grandparents were foot washing Baptists in Northeast Texas.
Oh,
Didn't drink, smoke, dance, or cuss, just made babies. And my grandmother dreamt of the book of Haggai when she was pregnant with my father.
oh my.
End of the 9th month, she has the dream, wakes up, goes in labor, and has my dad, and says, "That's it, you're Haggai." And my dad gave me the name, and my oldest is Haggai the third.
Ah,
And
wow.
so there's actually, there were 3 Haggais running around up until a few years back when my dad passed. But I've never in person met anybody else named Haggai. I know in Israel it's pronounced Haggai,
Uh-huh.
and parts of like in New York, because my son is a student at NYU, he has found up there that it's pronounced Haggai
Huh.
in the Hasidic community, especially.
Uh-huh.
And but just down here in the South, my grandparents said it was Haggai, and that's what my dad went with, and that's what I go with, and it just kind of works. This is so cool. Dreidel, dreidel.
Dreidel, dreidel, dreidel. I made it out of clay. Dreidel, dreidel, dreidel. Oh, dreidel we shall play.
I knew that song.
We have other guests coming?
After you, yes. We're going to have you on in the 8:05 to 8:12 and 8:15 to 8:31 segment, and then Deacon Jodi Moscona is going to do the last half hour.
Very educational show today. I'm learning a lot about great preachers.
Here's your money.
It is time to get in the holiday spirit or get in the holiday
Thank you.
spirits.
So, am I here 8:05 to 8:12?
You're going to be here from
8:05.
12, and then we're going to have a commercial break for about 3 minutes, and then we're going to have you from 8:15 till 8:30.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah, fine. I just wanted to get it in my brain.
Thank you so much for this. Chocolate?
Yeah, chocolate.
Awesome.
Can I use your pen for a second, please?
But wanted me to just wait until after the show and he'd come get it.
All right, so we doing outside in here, or what are we doing? Are we going to do the day in history as well? Let's,
Trust me, it's okay. We'll do this day in history if we have like 30 seconds.
let's do, because I don't. Let's do that instead of outside in. I don't really have anything prepared for it. We can. All right, we'll do some outside in. Okay, everybody, it was a little loud in my ear. So it's time for some outside in.
It's time to step outside of East Baton Rouge and get inside our surrounding parishes.
About time for me to be hitting the old dusty trail. Really explore space this time. I mean, really. Yeah. Explore the space.
The Outside In, presented by VRPT Lake, with 6 locations and extended hours to fit your needs. VRPT Lake has got you covered. Schedule online now at vrptlake.com. The Outside In is coming your way now.
We gotta get out of this town. Yeah, and go where? Where are we gonna go?
Well, we're going to go out on the Mississippi River first. The Coast Guard has suspended a search for a missing crewman who was on the American Queen steamboat. Apparently, the crewman fell overboard Wednesday about 2 in the morning, and they have been searching and not been able to find the crewman, which is rather unfortunate. And also, where did that story go? Sorry, when you're dealing with an amateur, that's going to happen that way. There was also up to 60 shanks, 100 cell phones, and a bunch of beer was all found at a Lane Hunt correctional facility. Lots of drugs and everything else was found out there when they did this massive search. And the St. Gabriel prison had, 130 officers from across the state, just did a big, huge sweep about 3:45 in the morning, and they just found all kinds of contraband, a lot of marijuana, a lot of synthetic marijuana. They even found crystal meth out there. Amazing what you can find in a prison. I mean, wow. They found cigars, homemade scales. They had 60 shanks, 100 cell phones, and cell phone chargers. They had SIM cards, cigarette lighters, and 3 gallons of homemade beer.
That's amazing.
3 gallons of homemade beer in a prison. Where are you keeping this?
I don't want to know.
I don't really care. Now that you mentioned, I guess I don't want to know that one either. I guess I've led a sheltered life to not know what's going on with with happening in a prison. So that's been your outside in for the morning. This is Haggai Davis sitting in for Brian. We'll be back in just a few minutes, and we're going to talk with Rabbi Barry Weinstein.
Protect your retirement. Visit SafeMoneyPlan.net. It's 8 o'clock.
WVRP Baker Baton Rouge, 98.1 HD3, Talk 107.3 FM.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. My hopes for an economic recovery quickly dashed last hour when the Labor Department released jobs numbers for November. Employers added just 210,000 new positions.
All right, so let's see. We go there. We want to do. Okay, there we go. How you doing today?
I am well, thank you.
Awesome.
I'm glad I got here early.
I am too. It always makes it easier when.
I like early.
Yes. So, do you actually read the Hebrew as well?
Uh-huh.
Awesome.
So for this first segment, it's going to be a lot shorter than the next one. So for the first one, we'll probably just make it not like surface level, but we'll kind of try and give people a broad perspective.
We got about 4 minutes in the first segment. About 4 minutes, but then the second one is almost.
The second one's 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So that's where you can get into the real, what you really want to talk about. But by all means. I'm going to cut you out at 11 because we have that live read. It's the last one of the show, unfortunately. So we'll have to cut anything short.
Not a problem.
Fortunately, fingers crossed, we had no audio issues for re-recording that this past hour. Like compiling audio after re-recording again.
Yeah, so the theme of the morning is a minister, rabbi, and a Catholic deacon walk into a studio.
It's a minister, a rabbi, and a priest walked into a bar, and the bartender said, "What is this, some kind of a joke?"
I like that.
You can use it. I'm off to Lake Charles later this morning. I'm the rabbi for Lake Charles.
Oh, okay.
My 11th year. And I'm the emeritus here at the temple. And let's do a show on the merger of the two synagogues here. It takes effect January 1st.
Oh, really?
Yes, sir. Steve Winkler, who invited me to come on,
Right.
was a big supporter of the merger.
Well, Stephen and I we're both past presidents of the Rotary Club.
Oh, okay.
That's how I reached out to Stephen. And said, all right, Stephen, help me out here. Get me a rabbi.
When I was, how many minutes do we have? Do I have?
You have about 2 minutes.
Good morning. Good. I'm just about to do a radio interview on Hanukkah at 107.
107.3 FM.
107.3 FM. Can I call you back around 8:30? Yeah, 107.3 FM. And around 8:35, I'll call you back.
We're also on YouTube.
And on YouTube, too. Okay. Okay, thanks. Bye. Radio is on YouTube?
Yes, we simulcast. So this is
Oh.
that's the camera right there.
Oh, my gosh.
So we.
I'm glad I wore
Absolutely. I think it's awesome.
Am I okay with your mic?
Yeah, so you're
Okay.
You're gonna want to make sure you're talking across the mic when we're talking, so that way.
Like this? Okay.
Yes, we have our YouTube listeners out there who are watching, and they keep me in line when I drift, the same way Jake does. So is Haggai actually one of the books in the Torah?
Not a book, no.
But it is. He is a prophet, though.
Yes.
Last hour. Yeah. 4.5 minutes for this segment, and then 15 for the next.
Okay, everybody, welcome back once again. This is Haggai Davis sitting in for Brian Haldane on Mornings with Haldane. Today's theme, if you haven't noticed, is a minister, a rabbi, and a deacon walk into a studio. And so now we're joined by a rabbi, Rabbi Barry Weinstein.
Great to be here. Thank you.
Thanks for coming on the show. So one of the reasons I wanted the Jewish faith right now is in the middle of Hanukkah.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about Hanukkah.
Hanukkah celebrates the miracle of the rededication of the temple 165 years before the Common Era, before the birth of Jesus. The temple had been desecrated, really destroyed by the Syrian Greeks. Oil was found for the Ner Tamid, which is the eternal light in the temple and in every synagogue today. It was thought that this little cruise of oil would last for one night, and it lasted for 8 nights. Just like if your cell phone was down to 10%, but it still lasted for 5 or 6 hours.
I love how you can take a 2,000-year-old tradition and turn it into a cell phone. That's great. So what does the word Hanukkah actually mean?
Hanukkah, Chet Nun Kaf He, means rededication, and it is related to chinuch, which is a word for education in Hebrew. And so it's the rededication of the temple. Hanukkah translates in a paraphrase manner as rededication, the rededication of the ancient temple.
So is Hanukkah actually mentioned in the Bible?
No, it's not in the Bible. It's in the book of Maccabees, which is in the Apocrypha. So it's not a major holiday like the Jewish New Year, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Passover, but it's become very important because guess what? It's very close to Christmas.
There you go.
So it's really, really flourished in the proximity to Christmas. And in fact, the Hebrew calendar is the 25th day of the month of Kislev. 25th day of December is Christmas.
And so what are some of the traditions around Hanukkah?
Well, I just realizing that I guess I know we are on YouTube, so you can show my menorah, a beautiful Hanukkah, which is the technical name, with a room for the 8 nights of Hanukkah, and one candle goes right here for the Shamas candle, and we light a candle each night. The one school of thought was that you start with 1 candle and go to 8. Another school of rabbis said, no, you start with 8 candles and go to 1. But the prominent tradition which became the majority, was to start on the first night with one candle until you get to the 8th night. Tonight, I'll be with Temple Sinai, where I'm the rabbi in Lake Charles. We're having a major Hanukkah party, and we're celebrating the 6th night of Hanukkah.
That's awesome. And so the ninth one, when is
That's the Shabbos candle. That's used every night to light the other candles.
Okay, and so the menorah has been around for
Long time.
long time. I love that. You know, as someone who's Christian, you're kind of big brother to us. You've been around a little bit longer than the Christian.
Yeah, we were there first.
You were there first. That's awesome. So we're going to come up on a break here. When we get back, we're going to get into a lot more of what goes on with Hanukkah and some of the Jewish traditions going on around this time of year. This is Haggai Davis sitting in for Brian Haldane. We'll be back in just a few minutes.
The holiday season is upon us, if you know what that means.
That's perfect. I love this. This is just right on.
I'm delighted to be here. I must come into 107.3.
And so if you want after about 9 o'clock or so, your specific interview will be on Talk 107.3's website.
Oh,
so if
great.
you want to link to it or tell people to go back
Yeah.
and listen to just this interview, they can go back and find it.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, and so it's a real nice little perk about being able to help you for being a wonderful guest and spending some time with us.
Thank you. Thank you.
So
I was in Rotary for a long time.
I remember that's where we first met.
When I was rabbi in the pulpit here.
Yeah. So yeah, I've been in Rotary now for 21 years, 22 years, something like that. It's been a while. I really enjoy it. So are you living in Lake Charles?
No, we live here.
You live here, but you just go over there and but you come back.
Yeah, commute.
Okay. So was the temple destroyed over there the way everything
Hit very
was?
bad. Hit very bad. We're still not in. We're meeting at a church.
Well, that's great that you can.
I want to talk about that too.
Okay, good. We will. We can start. We can come after the break. We'll start there. I had Dave Knipe with the VOA yesterday, and they have an office in Lake Charles, and their office during Hurricane Laura had a big air conditioning unit that was on the ceiling, on the roof, and after the storm, that air conditioning unit was on the ground next to the building, and they have a big sunroom now, and still haven't gotten it repaired.
Well, the thing is, the contractors, the material, it's so hard.
Yeah, and it just everything, the whole supply chain, global supply chain issues with everything. I mean, I work in the IT industry. Good luck trying to buy a computer nowadays. It just doesn't happen. And my mother-in-law lives in Laplace, and she took a foot of water in with Ida, so having to redo her house right now and finding supplies and materials and a contractor to rebuild things, and it's been rough. And so it's just like, come on, give Louisiana a break here just for a little bit of time. Let us catch up. Let us catch our breath.
Those two storms, so close together, very bad.
Yeah, and it, I would like to see Louisiana go through 3 years minimum without a storm, because I know we're going to get them. There's no way of stopping it, but just give us a break. Let us catch our breath. I mean, to have the 5 storms that hit Louisiana last year, 2 or 3 this year, it's like, okay, we had our fair share.
We paid our dues.
I'm tired of seeing the Weather Channel guys show up. Just let somebody else catch a few storms next year, kind of thing. All right.
This report is brought to you by Shawbuild, where you can get up to $170 with the purchase of 4 eligible Michelin tires. Visit Shawbuild.
same one. I'm supposed to do the same one.
No, this is different.
So it just sounds
No, this is different. Okay, welcome back once again. You're listening to Talk 107.3's Mornings with Brian Haldane. Without the Haldane part, you got Haggai instead of Haldane right now. And so we're talking with Rabbi Barry Weinstein, who is the rabbi of the temple in Lake Charles.
Temple Sinai in
Temple
Lake Charles.
Sinai in Lake Charles. Now, you were telling me in the break you aren't actually meeting in the temple right now.
We're not able to because Hurricane Laura and then Hurricane Delta a few weeks later in 2020 really hit our temple bad. We had a tree in the kitchen. We had tremendous water damage throughout the building. And it's been a long year plus in order to restore our temple. So we're meeting in a neighboring church, the Episcopal Church of the Good Shepherd on Kirkland Street, right around the corner from our temple. We hosted the Episcopal Church of the Good Shepherd in 1918 after the 1918 hurricane really hit their church so bad. And it works out fine because our services are Friday and Saturday, and the church, of course, on Sunday morning. So now they're being so wonderful to host us for our services basically right now once a month. And this tonight, Friday evening, we're having our big party in the church cooking latkes. Do you know what latkes are?
No, tell me.
Latkes are potato pancakes, no calories, no cholesterol.
Oh, no, of course not. Not this time of year anyway.
Cooked in oil. And
Okay.
the oil is to remind us of the oil of the miracle in the book of Maccabees.
I think that's just wonderful. I love the fellowship, number one, of people just being people and saying.
Absolutely. It is just grand, and it really is. I'm now in my 11th year, thank God, as the rabbi of Temple Sinai in Lake Charles. I continue as emeritus rabbi for Congregation B'nai Israel here in Baton Rouge. And I've worked all my rabbinical life on interfaith relationships. So for us to meet in the church, and we get as many folks from the church as we do from our temple in our services whenever we're there. So it's a great interfaith
I love that. I really do.
occasion as well.
And that's kind of been the theme of this morning's show, is that, we're all God's creatures here.
Absolutely.
And we all exist together.
And the thing is, this really fits for Hanukkah because we are trying so hard to rededicate our temple. And that's going to happen in a few months, God willing. Our president, Joel Davidson, native of Lake Charles, and in his family, he's the third. His father and his grandfather, presidents of our temple. Joel and the board are working so hard to get our temple back so we can be in the sanctuary. And we're going to have a grand service of healing and restoration sometime in the spring when we'll rededicate Temple Sinai.
That's wonderful. That's great. Now, you brought some other things here with us. A dreidel.
Yes.
Tell us about the
dreidel. I made it out of clay. And this has got 4 letters on it. Would you like to read the Hebrew,
please.
Haggai?
Absolutely. That one, and then there's this one, and that one, and then the other one.
Nun, Gimel, Shin, Hey. A great miracle happened there.
Okay.
And it is a old game, probably deriving from an old German custom of a wooden top. And depending on which side the dreidel lands on, you either put in, or you get half of the pot, or you get everything, or you don't get anything. And it's a wonderful game, and you play with pennies when I was growing up. And here you can have a chocolate coin, which is gelt, as we call it. And this is a way to symbolize the old gelt that we played with on Hanukkah.
With the menorah on the outside of the wrapping.
Yes, and the menorah's here, and this menorah, if at all possible, goes in the window, because the Talmud tells us, lifarsem et hanes, to publicize the miracle. And it's a great miracle of the small over the many. It is a miracle, as we say in our prayer book, we pray to God, you delivered the mighty into the hands of the weak, the many into the hands of the few, and the evil into the hands of the righteous. The miracle of Hanukkah is such a beautiful miracle.
So you mentioned the Talmud. What is the Talmud?
How many more minutes do we have?
Oh, we've got 10 or so minutes. We got about 11 minutes here.
Okay, in the layers of Jewish writing and Jewish literature, if you will, holy literature, you first have the Torah, the 39 books of the Hebrew Bible.
Okay.
Then you have the why did I say that's okay? The Hebrew Bible, then the Mishnah, which is the oral law, then commentary on the Mishnah, which is from the 1st to the 3rd century, from the 3rd to the 5th century, the Gemara, which is another layer of commentary on the Mishnah. And then after that, you have the Mishnah and the Gemara combined, which is the first 500, 600 years of the Common Era, which is the Talmud, which is an interpretation, a commentary on the Torah. And then you have layers of commentary on the Talmud as well. It's like an onion, and it's the core of the onion is the Torah itself, the 5 books of Moses and the prophets and so forth in the later writings, and then all these other layers of commentary. And that's why we're still around, I believe, because we have such a wonderful tradition of these holy books that help us to maintain ourselves, continue our learning throughout all our lives, and adapt to changing circumstances.
How much commonality is there between the Torah and the Christian Bible?
The Christian Bible, the New Testament as it's called, as it is correctly termed in Christian life, the New Testament, the Christian Bible, flows directly from the Jewish Bible, from the Hebrew Bible.
The Old Testament.
Yeah.
So is the Old Testament pretty close to the Torah?
Okay. Old Testament is a Christian word for the Torah. For us, it's not old. Of course.
Well, exactly.
It's as new as today. But the Hebrew Bible itself, and I said 39 earlier, the 19 books of the Hebrew Bible are all the context from which flow the Christian Bible.
Okay.
And the first Christians, of course, the earliest Christians came out of a Jewish background.
Sure.
Jesus himself was Jewish.
Absolutely.
And lived a Jewish life. And so the commonality is that the earliest Christians based their beliefs and their teachings on what they understood from the Torah. And there's a whole bunch of good Jewish Christian scholarship, which maybe on another show we can talk about, which delves much more deeply into this connection. It's a very important connection and relationship.
And so when you know, as someone who's Christian, when we look in the Old Testament and we see the different books in the Old Testament, as we call it, the Old Testament, are a lot of those, is it like Genesis and Deuteronomy, and are those the same books?
Yeah, the Pentateuch is Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. Those are the books of the Hebrew Bible. You have in your Christian Bible, you have 2 sections. You have the Old Testament, as it's called, and the New Testament. The Old Testament that you have, except with some minor exceptions depending on the print version of the Bible that you're looking at, is basically the Hebrew Bible. Although some Christian Bibles only have, for the Old Testament, they only have the Pentateuch, the first 5 books. We keep the first 5 books on a beautiful scroll in our synagogues. And on the scroll is Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. And we read from that scroll when we're in our synagogue, God willing, every week on Shabbat, on the Sabbath.
So there's a lot more we have in common that we don't.
Oh, my gosh. We all believe in the same God. We say, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Hear, O Israel, the Lord is our God, the Lord is one. Christians say the same. Jesus taught this verse, which is the most important verse, in my opinion, from Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 4, proclaiming the oneness of God. And that's who we are. Humanity, we are one person, one people, and that's why it's so important for us to get along.
I think that's marvelous, and this has been fascinating for me because I'm learning a lot this morning.
I hope so.
I live in my little cocoon world that I'm in, and I try to venture out and learn things. And
I'd like to also mention that in 1986, I was privileged with the late Bishop Stanley Joseph Hott of blessed memory, other wonderful clergy here in town who have since passed and transitioned to the world to come. We formed the Federation of Churches and Synagogues, which now has transformed, and I helped with the transformation into the Interfaith Federation. It is one of the outstanding led by lay leaders in America for interfaith relationships.
Robin runs that, right?
Yes, she just retired.
Oh, did she?
Just maybe less than a year ago.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
And yeah, I know there's a lot of great work that's done to make sure that we all do understand we all have the same guy up there in heaven.
We're all in this together.
And we all are in this together. So some of the fascinating things, like Hanukkah and Thanksgiving can actually fall on the same day.
Very rare. It happened in 2013. In 2013, Hanukkah and Thanksgiving were on the same day. Then I was serving Temple Shalom in Lafayette. We had a big party. It's going to be another 2,000 years or so before that happens again. But this year, Hanukkah began this past Sunday evening, right after Thanksgiving.
So what is the event that, what happens? How does Hanukkah get its date on the calendar?
It gets its date from the 25th day of the Hebrew month of Kislev. We have, the Jewish calendar is a lunar calendar. So sometimes it seems we say that Hanukkah is early or Hanukkah is late. Hanukkah ain't early or late. Hanukkah is right where it should be, 25th day of the Hebrew month of Kislev.
Okay. So
which varies according to the lunar calendar.
Much the same way with Easter then, because Easter falls the 6 weeks after,
related to the spring.
Vernal equinox.
Right.
And the Sunday after the first full moon.
And that's also related to Passover, to the date of Passover.
Absolutely. And which, again, the two, go so hand in hand together.
And look at Christmas and Hanukkah. Share lots of things. Coming in the dark of winter, when the days are shorter, each has candles.
Mm-hmm.
Time of renewal for Christians, time of rededication for Jewish people. A time to bring light over the darkness for both Jews and Christians, and it's a tremendous commonality.
So when you're working with the folks in the temple, whether it was here in Baton Rouge, Lafayette, or Lake Charles, what are some of the things that you enjoy most about being a rabbi?
Serving the Jewish people, primarily. I'm a child of immigrants. I'm a second generation. My parents were born here in this country, my grandparents in Russia. It was a miracle that they were able to come and establish themselves in this country. I'm a student of Shoah, of the Holocaust. I know what happened to our people and millions of others. It's my job, I believe, I'm still around, I believe, in order to help the Jewish people survive. And I'm so pleased and grateful to be able to serve small communities. I grew up in a very tiny community in upstate New York, Waverly, New York,
okay.
And I have an affinity for smaller Jewish communities, and so I'm thrilled to be able to help all of our cities and towns throughout Louisiana, but particularly right now, Temple Sinai and Lake Charles.
Because they do need a lot of help.
Yeah, Lake Charles is a great town, and it's resilient, and we need lots of prayers and helpfulness to come to our friends in Lake Charles.
I think it's just amazing that somebody from upstate New York finds his way down here to South Louisiana, which is 90% Catholic down here, and in these little islands, these small towns. Because I'm from Morgan City, I'm from small town, so I get it.
You know the Nelkin family in
I do
Morgan City.
The Levy
Candy
family.
Boats.
Yep, I knew the Levy family. There was nice Jewish traditions down in Morgan City growing up, and so I think it's great that you're here helping to to serve the folks who need.
Well, I'm so grateful to be able to come on the show today, and I want to wish everyone a very happy Hanukkah, a good Kwanzaa, and a Merry Christmas.
I think that's just great. And if somebody wants to find out more information about Hanukkah, about the Temple Sinai in Lake Charles and helping you guys out, how can we find out?
Well, I can certainly go to the websites of our congregation here, Congregation B'nai Israel on Kleinert Avenue, or Beth Shalom Synagogue on Jefferson Highway, or go to the website for Temple Sinai of Lake Charles, and there's a lot of links.
That's great, and I just cannot thank you enough for coming and spend some
Delighted.
time.
I'm very grateful to be here.
Because I have learned a lot, and this has just been a great day.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And so when we get back, we're going to talk with Deacon Jodi Moscona on Talk 107.3 FM. If you'll recognize the last name, Moscona. Yes, it's that Moscona family who will be here with us in just a few minutes. Thank you for listening to Talk 107.3 FM. Thank you very much.
Delighted.
This was just great.
That was all right?
This was
I didn't
perfect.
get to do the blessings, but that's okay. Next time.
Absolutely. What time are we coming back here? Coming 37. So we got 4 minutes, 5 minutes, 6 minutes. Come back.
I'm taking a bunch of things to Lake Charles for the party tonight. I got to go to the temple and get some more. You can have these souvenir.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Oh, hi. Sorry about that. We were in those. How are you?
This is so cool.
Oh, okay. I'm so sorry. Yeah, you can call back if you like, or you can stay on the line. We're currently.
Oh, Winkler was listening and he said it sounded great.
Oh, terrific. Great. Thanks again, Haggai.
Thank you, sir. If you can do the elevator or the stairs, the elevator to the left, the stairs to the right.
Sounds good. We'll get you back on in a couple minutes and we'll go live then.
Right down here? Okay, that's great. Okay.
And then you can go up. You can go back to the front or you can just go right out the left. Thank you. Have a great day and a great Hanukkah. That was wonderful.
Oh, yeah, that was great.
This report is brought to you by Shawbills, where you can get up to $170 with the purchase of 4 eligible Michelin tires. Visit ShawbillsTire.com to learn more.
Your path to recovery in a brand new life is now closer than ever before. Introducing the Globe Recovery Center in Ascension, Arizona. This is a safe place to learn how to successfully live sober and maintain sobriety. The Grove is a residential campus where the journey to a new you and a brighter future begins, offering multiple levels of care and recovery in a style unique to our state. Call 225-310-2600.
Half an hour left.
Recovery Center. Recovery
I'm
designed.
pausing. We're having fun. I've enjoyed doing this show with you.
Thank you. I have too. How we doing out there, YouTube? Y'all enjoying the show so far today? I hope you're enjoying it as much as I have been, because it's certainly been fascinating. That's awesome.
He could have kept going.
Oh yeah. Very much. Hey, Bo.
Take a deeper dive into the stories that are important to you with a Fox News rundown. Weekday mornings at 9 on Talk
We already did all
173,
of our
the
ads,
new
by the way.
flavor of talk.
Perfect.
Newscast, because I did that one.
According to the Advocate newspaper, Oxford Health has fired 280 employees for refusing to get a COVID vaccine. The state's largest healthcare system says these workers also refused to seek an exemption. Oxford tells the Advocate 89% of the system's employees are vaccinated or have been exempted. Louisiana
Whenever people call in on the line that you're having people call in, I assume because
I know.
I've been burned so many times, it's people that are just like,
I know.
so I never picked up, but that person stayed for minutes, and I was like, all right, we're off there, let's just see what this is. He's like, hi, I'm Bishop. I'm so sorry.
That's my fault. I should have given the backline number.
We'll know for next time.
Mm-hmm.
Louisiana Economic Development Secretary Don Pearson says Venture Global is also building an LNG facility in Plaquemines Parish.
We're seeing a great corporate partner here, and one that's now incorporated a great environmental feature in carbon capture and sequestration into this facility.
Venture Global says it's on a mission to produce the cleanest, low-cost LNG in North America.
You mean Deacon?
The Ascension Parish Sheriff's Office says a man was found dead inside of a truck that was riddled with
D-A-C-O-N.
Correct.
blocking all three
Jodi
on I-10 West
Moscona.
overnight hours.
Moscona.
Passenger in the truck, while the truck's driver, according to the Ascension Parish Sheriff's Office, was also shot and taken to a hospital. The driver's condition is unknown. Talk 107.3 Baton Rouge.
All right. We'll be live. What if I gave like the fastest, the last segment, what if I gave it the fastest day in history? I don't care, it's just popped in my
Yeah.
head. I'm not
I'd-
saying I want that.
The last segment's only going to be a couple of minutes, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back once again. Continuing on with our theme that a minister, a rabbi, and a Catholic deacon walk into a studio, we are now joined by Deacon Jodi Moscona from Deacon. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Good morning. How are you?
Doing great. Thank you for so much for joining us. For those of you who don't know, Deacon Moscona is a deacon here in the Catholic faith. He's a permanent deacon in down in Gonzales, is it not?
Yes, it's St. Teresa of Avila in Gonzales.
That's awesome. So I wanted to have you on this morning because I wanted you to talk a little bit about Advent and what Advent's all about.
Great. First of all, let me just thank you for having me on, and I really enjoyed the segment with the rabbi. I know Rabbi Weinstein. I've been with him, several times, and he's very engaging and
He's great.
certainly very devout and knowledgeable. Advent.
And before you do, I do want to say, thank you for joining me with Matt being on Talk on 104.5. He has Mama Scone, who she schools him every year on the basketball picks. I think it's an upgrade to have you on with me. So thank you.
You're welcome. Listen, it's a pleasure. Let me just preface by saying I'm really not in Baton Rouge. That's why I'm not in the studio. I'm in Olathe, Kansas. My daughter had twins prematurely, and I'm up here just kind of helping them out a little bit. And so this is a long-distance call.
You're on grandfather duty. That's cool.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, Advent is the beginning of the church year for Catholics. And by way of preface, in the Catholic faith, we divide our services into 3 cycles: A, B, and C. A is Matthew, B is Mark, C is Luke, and we focus on those gospels during those cycles, and we add into there John during the holy seasons of Advent and Lent, and then we supplement with daily masses. And if you go to every mass every day for 3 years, you will read the whole Bible. So that's kind of our annual way we work. So this year, last Sunday, the first Sunday of Advent, we started cycle C. So we're moving from Mark to Luke. During Advent, however, we read a lot of Matthew and we read a lot of other things because we're getting ready for Christmas. And Advent, the word, implies waiting, anticipation, and that's what we're doing. But it's deeper than that because it's a time of preparation for the celebration, and it's personal preparation. So a lot of us in the Catholic faith like to say this is a penitential time. It's a time for deep personal reflection. It's a time to get straight with God so that we can have a clear spiritual sense when we celebrate the birth of our Savior Christ. So we have 4 weeks, and basically the 4 weeks, the first week focuses on hope. The second week focuses on love. The third week focuses on joy. And then the last week we focus on peace. And you've heard all the Christmas things, peace on earth and all that kind of stuff. And that's how we get to that point. So I was really happy that the rabbi kind of talked about the different the Old Testament and New Testament and put it in his perspective. From our perspective, he is absolutely right. The Old Testament prefigures the Christian New Testament, which is the birth of Christ. The way, I'm not Jewish, so I don't know it as deeply as the rabbi, but my understanding from reading and studying the Old Testament is that the Jewish people are waiting for the Savior. They're waiting for their Savior, their Messiah.
Right.
We believe that Jesus is the Messiah, that he is the Savior, that he did come. It's the same person they're waiting for, but we just recognized him. And that's an oversimplification, and I don't mean to step on the rabbi's toes.
Absolutely, and he would say the same.
So when I read the Old Testament, it's chock full of prefiguring Christ. In the prophets, Isaiah, you hear of all of these prophecies of Christ. And then when you read Matthew, the first gospel, it starts with the lineage of Jesus, goes through, from Abraham all the way down, to Joseph, who is the foster father of Jesus, and it's an attempt by Matthew, who was Jewish, to convince the Jewish people that Jesus is the Messiah. And when you read in Matthew, over and over again, he'll say, this happened to fulfill what was said in the prophets. For example, he talks about Bethlehem. Jesus was born in Bethlehem. This was to fulfill the prophet. He'll say they went to Egypt because of Herod. This was to fulfill the prophecy. And so you have many, many, many references in Matthew where he says this was to fulfill the prophecy. That links the Old Testament to the New Testament and shows that the New Testament with Jesus coming is the fulfillment of what was anticipated. So then that brings us to how do we celebrate it, and that's Advent and then Christmas. And one of the things that many people lose sight of is they say, oh, Christmas is over on the 26th, let's take down the Christmas tree. Well, no, that's the beginning of the Christmas season.
The 12 days
Christmas Day is the beginning.
That's right.
Advent is the anticipation, it's the preparation, it's where we should theoretically detach ourselves from the material things and focus on the spiritual things in anticipation of Christmas. In our church, I'm at St. Teresa of Avila in Gonzales, and my pastor is Father Eric Guyan, and he takes great steps to not celebrate Christmas till Christmas, to use Advent as a time of preparation. For example, we don't have our staff Christmas lunch till the Christmas season, which is after Christmas. Many people have their Christmas parties during Advent. That's become the culture.
Right.
And that's a big part of conversation right now, is where the line is between being Catholic as a cultural Catholic and being Catholic as a spiritual Catholic falls. Because we live in the world, but we're not supposed to be of the world. And when we live in the world, we get caught up with the traditions and the cultural things, and sometimes it causes us to fall out of what the intent of the season is. So I'll give you an example. I got to Kansas last week, and the first thing I did was check the bulletin to find out when confession was at the church near here.
Mm-hmm.
So it was on Wednesday. So not day before yesterday, but the prior Wednesday, I was there at noon in the line waiting for confession. Why? Advent was going to be Sunday. And I wanted to have myself begin the preparation for Christmas. That is what Advent is all about. And so my way of talking about this is different sometimes than what some of my Protestant Christian friends say. And it's like that in a lot of what we Catholics do.
So we have about 2 minutes here. One of the things that we do in the Catholic faith is the Advent wreath. Tell me a little bit about how, about the Advent wreath.
Well, that's a great question. Great question, Haggai. So there's 4 candles on the wreath. There are 3 purple ones and 1 pink one. I mentioned earlier that the weeks of Advent focus on hope, love, joy, and peace. So when we light the first candle, we use it for the first week, and we're supposed to focus while we pray with that candle on the theme of the week, which is hope. And so there are many little calendars you can get that follow the 4 weeks. And so the first week you light your candle like as a family, and you pray the prayers that may be given to you in your Advent calendar prayer book. And you go through 1 week, and then the second week you light 2 candles. And now you're focusing on love. And then the third week is a special candle. It's got dote, and I'm not speaking it properly, but it's joy. It's pink. It's actually, I used to kid the bishop when I was at the cathedral that real men wear pink, and he would say, "Deacon, it's not pink, it's rose." It's technically a rose-colored candle, and in that week we start with the joy of the anticipation, because we know that it's getting closer and closer and closer. And then the 4th week is the fourth purple candle, which is focusing on peace. And as we get closer to Christmas, the songs, peace on earth, goodwill to men, and we start really getting emotionally ready for the birth on Christmas Day.
Deacon, I cannot thank you enough for spending some time with us, and peace be with you, and I hope you have a wonderful Christmas, and thank you for joining us.
My pleasure. I really enjoyed it. Thank you for inviting me, and y'all have a very, very wonderful Advent, a very Merry Christmas, and a very joyful Christmas season. God bless.
Thanks, Deacon. Bye-bye. Perfect.
A UK study has found 6 different COVID vaccines are safe and effective when used as booster doses. The trial looked at the safety and efficacy of 7 vaccines given after administered 2 initial doses of either the Pfizer or AstraZeneca vaccine. Vaccines included in the study were those produced by those 2 companies, along with J&J, Moderna, Novavax, CureVax, and Valneva. Here's some good news resulting from the tight labor market. Corporate layoffs are at their lowest level in nearly 30 years. Outplacement firm Challenger Gray and Christmas says about 14,900 corporate jobs were cut in November, the lowest figure since May of 1993. Target is extending store hours in the days leading up to Christmas, starting Sunday. Most stores will open at 7 a.m. and close at midnight through December 23rd. That's your money now.
The holidays are around the corner, and finding the perfect gift is tricky. Omaha Steaks makes it easy to send friends and family the best steaks of their life. An unforgettable gift guaranteed to be loved and shared. Go to omahasteaks.com and enter quality into the search bar to order the perfect gift package. For $99.99, you'll get 24 entrees like the Mexican rat filet mignons, chicken breasts, sides, desserts, and
So YouTube out there, how do we do today? Do we have a good time? Was this an interesting show, I hope? I know I've enjoyed this.
Yeah, I can speak for myself and say that it was a pretty enjoyable show. Not exactly the guests that we're used to, but I learned a lot.
You know, it was certainly an inspired show, if you will. I don't know. I just thought it would be a great idea in this time of year. Hear some different traditions, some different things about the different faiths.
Yeah, and the thing is that we all kind of get caught up in our own echo chambers here and there. And
Yeah, we could.
in reality, I mean, you don't have to believe everything you hear, but hearing other people's perspectives in a nice and respectful way goes a long way for anybody.
Being reminded that there are differences,
Mhm.
and it's okay to be different, and it's okay for people to think differently than you. You don't have to live in an echo chamber.
It makes you a more well-rounded person, a wiser person. If you keep hearing the same things over and over, regardless of what you believe, whether you think they're right or wrong, like, you're not going to know anything different. How can you consider yourself educated when you only hear one side?
And just, you know, I've loved today. I think this was a great show. Definitely, you know, Hall of Fame material. Take that, Brian.
Yeah, seriously. What are you doing here? That guy's taking your job. Oh, he left one for you.
Yeah, he did.
That's nice.
Left me a dreidel. I think that's so cool.
What side did it land on?
That one. Here, look, see?
Interesting.
Isn't that fascinating? I mean,
It really is. Let's see what I get. Wow. Its spinning is pretty mesmeric.
Wow, you put some spin on it.
This one.
Cool.
Overhand.
Yeah, either way. I can catch.
Nice. That's right. You were in a fraternity in college. All right, we got about a little over a minute and a half,
okay.
and we'll take it home.
Citizens Bank and Trust. Business bankers, home partners, member FDIC.
Stayed for like Jumbo and
As a
stuff,
coach for over
but
50
I was
years and the
hired.
father of 4 daughters, we've had a lot of happiness and accumulated lots of stuff. Dependable Storage wants your stuff.
It's go already?
That
Oh, I was on.
visit dependablestorage.com.
I was
Your WBRZ traffic updates from Ashley
where
Boucher.
he was and basically just staring at his face the whole time. I mean, at the raise his mic, I would turn it down so he wouldn't have to like cough or clear his throat from the mic. That's fine. So it got to the point wherever I would do it, I get it all the time. I did something. No, it is a good time. But I would have stayed longer. I just wanted to get home. Plus, as the show was going on, I realized that. We had a skeleton crew out there.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, I was
CNI's reported at WBRZ traffic on Twitter. $170 with the purchase of 4 eligible Michelin tires. Visit showbillstire.com to learn more.
Let's burn all home.
This is a great song.
It's so happy.
Absolutely. Well, time to put a button on and a bow on this show for the day. I have really enjoyed the last 2 days. Jake, thank you so much for helping.
Thank you. It's been a great time. I've really enjoyed having more than one person to bounce off of, to interact with, if you will, for this show.
And you know, yeah, today's theme: a minister, a rabbi, and a Catholic deacon walk into a studio, and we learned a lot of things today.
We did, and we were both talking about this off air on YouTube. And if you haven't followed, by the way, or subscribed, you know, Mornings with Brian Haldane on YouTube. Check us out. Anyway, I think we really, regardless of whether we agree with anything or everything that was said, we really broadened our horizons and learned a lot of new things that we wouldn't have picked up on otherwise.
And learned just how much we actually have in common.
For real. I wasn't expecting. There was a lot of similarities between the Jewish beliefs and Christian beliefs.
And absolutely, and the African American Church and the Catholic Church, and
yeah.
I mean, it just, you know, and then also Levar with the Fathers on a Mission. I mean, it was kind of a really cool day here on Mornings with Brian Haldane, without Haldane because Haggai's in.
Mornings with HAGGAI Davis.
Yeah, let's not go that far.
Hey, Brian, we're coming for you.
We want Brian back on Monday morning and every morning going forward, because Brian does a great job, and you know, and I have a real job to go.
This is a real job. Come on.
This is a fun thing, and look, you know, it's real cool. General Informatics lets me come on and spend some time on the radio. General Informatics, you know, we're an IT services firm across the Southeast. We do a lot of great things with IT, whether you know, cloud computing, you just have some questions about your technology, go to geninf.com and or give us a call at 767-7670, General Informatics, for all your IT needs. There, I got that little plug in for the good guys over there at General Informatics.
Heck yeah.
Guys and gals, I must say. And, you know, it just is so much fun to come and do this radio show and to learn as much as we did about as many different things over the last 2 days. This has been a lot of fun.
I consider this to be an absolute win.
We also got to learn a little bit about Jake Barty today.
That's true. You did.
We got to learn your last name that nobody has probably, you probably have not said your last name on the show in the 3 months you've been here.
No, definitely not.
And so now you have a last name.
I do have a second name.
That's cool. So if you're out there and you want to know what's going on with Jake, you just found out. If you missed any part of the show today, you can go to the Talk 107.3 FM's website, and you can hear all of the different interviews that we did.
Or you can check out our YouTube channel, which I just plugged 2 minutes ago, so I won't do it again.
Oh, go to
Mornings with Brian Haldane on YouTube. Check us out.
Mornings with Brian Haldane with Haggai Davis for the morning.
Yes, these episodes will be under Mornings with Haggai Davis.
The whole show is there, and in living color, for those of you old enough to remember when TVs had to say that. And, you know, it's been a fun day, and I want to thank Brian for letting me do this. We'll be back on Monday with Brian. Thanks again, and have a great weekend. This is Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, Baton Rouge's new flavor of talk.
Protect your retirement. Visit safemoneyplan.net. It's 9 o'clock.
Alrighty, people. I'll do the YouTube outro. Thank you all for tuning in, as always. If you're new here, welcome. Like, share, and subscribe. We appreciate you all stopping by. Have a great rest of your day. Goodbye.
Bye, YouTube. Thanks for tuning in.